Good morning. We're going to do, this is Lot Talk, episode 3. And today I have Craig Howard, of course, and then Jake Harms. Jake's my son-in-law. Jake's been involved in the operation. We had Dylan on yesterday. Dylan knows the cows well. Jake gets a lot of opportunity to learn lots, and he's got a few comments today. One of the things that was brought to my attention after the last video is that we forgot lot 36, so we're going to go talk a little bit about lot 36. We're doing this kind of impromptu. We're not, there's very little, if any, script at all. We're just talking about what we like to talk about, which is cattle. So a couple of things to note before we start on 36 is that we're videos are going to be up kind of next week, the 24th, 25th. So there'll be videos kind of coming up as they get them edited. By the end of the week, we expect that almost all the videos will be up. So with that, I'm going to go right into it. This is lot 36 is a Maximus son out of a Rolling Deep daughter. Guys, thoughts?
She's a good old cow that she never gave you any trouble. Just always brought a big calf home every year, and did just the kind we like to have.
Yep. She was one of those quiet Rolling Deep daughters, yep, as I remember, that just kind of did it, and then he stacked out on Maximus. He ought to have great disposition. You know, the other thing he did extremely well is he marbled a 120 on IMF. By the way, so I say IMF and it affects the marbling EPD, but IMF is intramuscular fat. So that's a ultrasound measurement of the ribeye area. But he ratioed 120 on IMF with a 109 on ribeye size. So, you know, this bull put together a lot of great things. Did it with a 37 scrotal. I just don't think there's any two ways to get about him. I didn't forget him for any reason other than I get into the flow of this and got. So we're going to go back, get started where we thought we were going to start today, which was 41, but we have another Maximus on a hard drive. Thoughts, guys?
This is that pedigree. It's power on power. I mean, just the growth there. And those Maximus calves, I mean, they just stand out every time you walk past them.
You know, we've talked a little bit about the sires from time to time, and I can't emphasize enough how much I like the Maximus bull. There was a picture of him on the previous, couple of previous pages, but just moderate, thick, easy fleshing, just a great disposition bull to be around. I mean, that's what you can see on both sides of this pedigree is the hard drive daughters were wonderful. The Maximus is wonderful. So from a disposition standpoint, you know, he's really got it going on. Then you put Gridmaster in the top 7% of the breed. You know, I just think that he does a lot of things right. And so moving on with lot 42, got a hard drive, one of the few hard drives in the sale. Thoughts, guys?
I think this is probably as good a hard drive as we've had for a little bit. I know he's still a lot 42, but that's a darn good calf, and everybody that walks through the pen notices him. That's a darn good calf.
Yep, I completely agree. I mean, that marbling was good too. I don't know what he ratio, but
he actually, that's a good point. He did a 108 on IMF and a 126 on ribeye, and you could sure see it as you look at him up over his top. You know, this is a classic pedigree for us with hard drive on Rolling Deep. Just. I'm not so sure. This is a bull that's probably on our list to use, just because we've dabbled with the hard drives. I shouldn't say dabbled. We've probably used quite a few of them. But the reality is we haven't necessarily found the one that we really thought hit it out of the park. And sometimes you get bulls that do that maternally they're very, very strong. The bulls, it's a little hard to find the one that's going to move the program forward. But this one does it with some birth. He's very kind of moderate. But I really think he's a bull to watch, and he may be the hard drive son that gets it all done for us. So, with that, we'll move on to 43. We got a forefront son, comes out of the ET program. Thoughts, guys?
470 cow is just as stout as any cow that walked this place. It just
Kind of
massive.
typical of the Cyclone daughters,
Yes,
because they
just
were
very
like
massive. You know, without being giant. You know, huge. They were just massive, and she was no exception.
Yeah, that's what was a comment on was the MPPA of 103. I mean, she does a good job.
Yep. In addition to that, she has this lot 43 has two full brothers selling as lots 58 and 194. So we'll move on next to lot 44. A Let's Roll son. We've probably scaled back a little bit on Let's Roll. Part of the issue was is we stacked Rolling Deep into so many pedigrees, it was finding more limited spots to use him. This stacks Let's Roll, so you have a classic pedigree of Let's Roll, Rolling Deep on Spartacus. Any thoughts about this bull?
Just Let's Roll's females. I mean, they have nice structure. They look good. They work good. I just always like looking at them.
Yep, great udders too.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's one thing that we can characterize about the Let's Roll daughters is that he puts a really nice udder on.
I think he ratioed pretty high too. I think like 118 or something. Didn't he?
Yeah, Jake, you're right. He actually 118 on IMF and 113 on ribeye, 108 on back fat. So, you know, that puts him in pretty good. Pretty at the top of the pack, I guess would be the way to describe it. So, and that's in not a small contemporary group. That's one thing to realize. That bull had 77 head within his contemporary group, so they're not scanning in 4 or 5 head for the most part. You know, they're scanning in large groups, which does say something that they have the chutzpah to get it done. With that, we'll move on to lot 45. We got a profit maker son out of Gladiator daughter. Thoughts, guys?
We've already talked about that, the 520 cow.
That's right.
And we talked about her earlier. Just a super nice, really feminine, attractive kind of cow.
Flushed her dam and flushing her now.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. I think we even flushed her grand dam, if I
believe
remember
so.
right.
I
Yeah.
think
So
that's where, yes,
so,
that's
yeah,
where
there's-
475 came from was
Yep.
another.
yep,
Flush.
three generations of donor cows on this one. You know, this is a profit maker that sure warrants a look. You know, he just does a lot of things right. We do think a lot of the gladiators. They put a lot of marbling into these cattle. I think in the end, what we're going to find is that the profit makers are very high maternal kind of cattle. So, with that, we'll move on to lot 46. Lot 46 is a stock market. Again, we had exciting news about stock market and how he ratioed on carcass traits. Thoughts on this one, guys?
I just always like looking at the stock markets. I mean, they're just consistent all the way through, starting at lot 1.
Talks about that. You know, my dad used to call it prepotency, and it's that prepotent breeding that really stamps them. And stock market's probably done it, in my mind, maybe as good as any bull. I don't know. I don't want to overshadow Atomic and Forefront, but Spartacus was really the last one to make them as consistent as this one. Not that any of those other sires aren't, but boy, he just really puts a look, and you can see it in the picture there. You know, I don't know what more there is to say about this bull other than he ratioed a 122 on IMF and a 120 on ribeye. I mean, I don't know how you put it together much better than that. So, you know, I talked about this earlier. One of the things he did is he did a 111 on back fat. I know that causes feeders some angst. But the truth of the matter is, I really feel strongly that they can manage back fat or yield grade in the feedlot. It's important for us to have that kind of fat in the maternal pedigree so that those cows lay on fat cover, can handle swings in environment, whether that be drought or wet or that sort of thing. And so I think that becomes the challenge when you guys are managing your cow herd, is that you pick the right spot to be, and everybody wants to maximize, and I would prefer that they optimize on these traits. I just think back fat is one of those that I think we need to think about what's more important economically in our herd, and I think having back fat in your cow herd is a good thing. With that, I guess I probably overtook a little bit, but we're going to move on to 27. We got a franchise here that we've talked. 47. Excuse me, lot 47. We're going to talk about a franchise son that we've talked about several full brothers before. Any thoughts?
Again, we've already talked about two of them, and I mean, if you got three full brothers at at lot 47, I mean, that kind of says what you need to, doesn't it? So
You and I were just bringing a calf in the other day with a franchise dam, and we were commenting on the milk and the udders, and good mom. I mean, it's just the heifers are doing a good job too.
Yeah, I mean, boy, if you got a set of heifers that need bred, I mean.
And we talked about it on this mating or on the Full Brothers before, but I really think this is a mating that's interesting from the perspective that you have franchise and you have atomic in the pedigree. Two cows that we think are really, or two sires that we think are really going to produce a lot of great dams down the road. So then we'll move on to lot 48, another Let's Roll son out of a fusion. Thoughts, guys?
There's a reason we flushed her last year. So I mean, this was her natural calf, and that 244B cow, just a real moderate, but just absolutely get it done every time kind of cow. Comes from her dam was an ET, and I believe her dam was an ET also. So.
Yep.
And one of her calves is actually the dam lot 50 there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just showing how good that cow line is.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jake. So yeah, they're lot 50 and lot 48 actually have similar or similar cow line. Actually, lot 50's dam is out of lot 48's dam. So great point. I don't get a lot of that stuff in the catalog. I want to leave something for you guys to look at and discover, or you can just say we don't have time because it gets to be kind of a rushed mess. But anyway, 48 is scanned really well on ribeye at a 106. I guess with that we'll move on to the lot 49 bull. This is a forefront out of a gladiator. Any thoughts?
Calving, ease, and growth.
Not only they do that, they marble well. Like I've do the forefronts marble well, but then you got gladiator daughters on the bottom side. I mean, they're solid from that perspective, so there's sure nothing to lose, I guess I don't know other than the fact that he ratioed a 102 on IMF and a 108 on ribeye and an 87 on back fat. I guess we'll move on to lot 50. We talked about him just a little bit ago, but this cow line's obviously got it done.
That with atomic, I mean, you got a heck of a mating there. Yep.
And then Deep End, I talked about him earlier. Deep End actually is a bull that stands up well in the dollar profit system. He was leased to Gen X and sold semen there for years, but done an outstanding job in the Rouse herd producing daughters and here and a lot of success across the industry. Anything I missed on him?
No, I don't think so.
Lot 51, stock market.
I'm sure you fit this one pretty hard. I mean, 555F.
Mm-hmm.
This meeting, I mean, I'm sure. Just look how many pairs. I mean,
Yep.
done a great job overall.
Yep. Dylan commented yesterday that 278 was a high volume, big kind of cow, and this 555 just moderated that and just does lots of things right, So this stock's a high marbling kind of pedigree. I think that you'll be able to see that 0.76 in the top 2%. My guess is that next week that'll be somewhere in the top 1%. Particularly because he ratioed to 113 and the way the stock markets did, that's going to drive him up. But, you got a 2-star heifer bull here. We kind of make our calving ease predictions so that you don't have to take any chances. But if you're looking for a little more growth and some calving ease, this bull sure gets it done. With that, I think we'll move on to 52. We got an atomic out of a hard drive. Comments, guys?
Got Dateline, you got atomic. I mean,
I
doing
think
pretty good.
Right. I think as you look at the pedigree, I mean, let's just talk about it for a second here. I mean, you're gonna think that I messed up when I did this committee.
Yeah, so so one of the things in our catalog, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if you see Bieber and then a prefix, that's the cooperator. Okay, so our staff is allowed to run some cows, and so this is actually a cow line that Craig Howard selected years ago, and I'll let him tell a little more.
Sure. So obviously, as you look at the pedigree, you see it's dateline on dateline. That was not an accident. That was on purpose. I think I mean that's one of the best cows I've ever owned. Obviously, that's where Atomic came from.
Just to add that I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, but I better 308Y would be the dam of 109A.
109A.
So that stacks 308Y in the pedigree twice.
Times. Yep. And he didn't disappoint. I mean, that's a heck of a calf. I mean, you notice him every time. And not only that, he's got a great disposition. He comes out to visit you every time you're in the pen. I'm pretty high on the calf. I think he's going to go out and do somebody a world of good.
Thoughts, Jake?
No, I completely agree. I mean, just driving by at the bunks, he's always there, and you can always pick him out.
You know, so one of the great things my dad used to say is that it's line breeding if it works and it's inbreeding if it doesn't. And I always love that. You know, the truth is there's not that much difference. But you know, this bull is intensely line bred and very, very successful in our opinion. You know, so you see that. I mean, particularly if you consider that he ratioed a 125 on IMF. I mean, this bull puts it together, and I think could be a great sire for somebody in their program. We'll move on to lot 53. Thoughts, guys, on 53?
Just, I don't know. Again, what do you say about what more do you? Can we talk about the stock
We're going to talk about
markets,
the stock market a lot. Yeah.
You know going back to the old Primrose cows. I mean how many herd bull pedigrees do you see Primrose in?
That's a good point, Craig. I just realized this is actually a full sister. This dam is a full sister to Let's Roll. So that's a pretty interesting note there. The Primrose 2043 cow did an amazing job. Probably has as many embryo calves as any cow in the registry, but or just about any cow in the registry. So, she's an amazing cow. And we, at Bieber and Angus, we're concerned about making a lot of good ones. And sometimes we get lost and don't really talk about these cow lines as much as we probably should. We are really driven by trying to offer as much to the industry as we can, and that from a wider base, we want to make lots of these good kind of cattle. That's one of the reasons we flush cattle. Anyway, I probably got sidetracked a little there, but that was a great point. Did you have anything else to add on the maternal side?
That's about it for me.
Well, you're just the structure of that cow. I mean, she always.
And then you stack stock market in there, and I'm going to sidetrack again on this one, but not that he isn't a good bull by any means, but tell us what you guys see in the stock market daughters that we're feeding every day.
They're just, you can pick them out from the start. I mean, just even as calves right now out there, I mean, you can just tell they have a look to them, and they're stout, and they're staying nice and warm and active right now, and it's -20. So. Yep.
So the one of the things is the replacement heifers. These cattle have the kind. I mean, if there's ever a breed changer, in my opinion, this stock market bull will do it. Part of our goal is to breed good Red Angus, so Red Angus can actually have a stronger foothold in the industry. And stock market, in my opinion, is a bull that's really gonna lead the breed from that perspective. Because the truth of the matter is we all just need to get better. We need better beef in order for people to eat more beef. I mean, that's one of the great things about beef is that if we raise the quality, people tend to like it, and so I that again, this is going to be where I got off the tracks, and Kristen is going to bring me back in here. But we'll move on to lot 54. We got a Gladiator, actually a little reverse of some of what we've been looking at. It's a Gladiator on an Atomic. Thoughts on this one, guys?
Well, I think, again, I mean, let's talk about daughters here, you know, I mean, like another Atomic daughter coming to the top. I think as time goes on and we get more of them and they get of age, I mean, we're just gonna see that more and more. They're awesome females, and obviously with Gladiator on the top side there, it's gonna be a good bull.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely just carry on the Gladiator name of,
Yep.
easy cabin, and you got the power behind it.
You know, this one sure stacks in the marbling with a 1011 on IMF and a 103 on ribeye area. You know, that's something that Gladiators have done for us, is really stacking the marbling. If I didn't mention it before, and I don't think I have, Gladiator is out of Hard Drive's dam, so they're half brothers. So a lot of times we end up doing a lot of line breeding here, and so you know, that bull, you know, he's just done a great job. Probably is one of the more notable Spartacus sons that we've had, and we've had a lot of good ones, because we have a lot of customers who call me and say, hey, I got this set of Spartacus out of my Spartacus son, or AI'd Spartacus, and just love them. So they're phenomenal. Any parting thoughts on lot 54? So I'll move on to 55. Craig, you want to talk a little bit about this pedigree?
Well, I think, you know, obviously, so this would be a 3/4 brother basically to the Warhead bull. I was probably as animated as anybody about using Warhead. I mean, I think it was, I didn't hold anything back on it, him being one of my favorite bulls of the year that year. And so, you know, I think these sons are going to do some awfully good things here. You know, with forefront on the top side. You know, I think I just think they're going to be awfully good cattle.
Yep. Well, they're solid, that's for sure. And again, the Warhead, so these are full brother or 3/4 brothers to Warhead. I guess we've missed that in the footnote. One of those things that maybe was noted earlier, or I forgot. But one of the interesting things about the 243D cow, the dam of this bull, is so our vet came to us and had watched what we were doing, Dean Christensen, Ashley Vet Clinic, and he wanted to invest some money in a few cows. He liked learning about genetic programs, and so he bought the 243D cow in a sale. Thought he probably paid too much, but he liked her. Consequently, her first calf was the $19,000 Warhead bull. Not that all works out that well, but you know. And so then we offered Dean the opportunity to flush this cow. Dean will be at the sale, or should be at the sale. He's having surgery the day before, but you know, we run these cows at Bieber Red Angus. So Dean's cows are different than Borman's cows that they run here, and he pays us to run them, and then consequently gets to decide and help with matings and learn a little bit about the seed stock business. With that, I'm going to move on to lot 56. We got a Stockman E116. I think this bull does a lot of things right, brings in the rose cow line on the bottom side. I don't know. Comments, guys?
I've always liked 116. I mean, I can remember Howie and I out there in the summertime just picking him out from the beginning. I mean, Howie showed me him, and he was just fun to watch the whole time. You know, him and Stock Market together, I mean, that's going to shape a lot of our cow herd coming up here.
Yep. Stacked on Let's Roll, too, so,
Right.
you know, it does. Jake was talking earlier a lot about the Let's Roll females. You know, here's one that got her done, you know, so, you know, that's a good point to make. We'll move on to lot 57. 57 is Atomic out of a hard drive. We probably talked this pedigree. We're going to end up talking it to death. But comments, guys?
I'm sure you guys have hit it hard. I mean, hard drive and atomic. I mean, that's got power, like you said, atomic helps with the calving ease there and take care of you.
Disposition,
Yep.
that's one of the things we talked about earlier is that really stacks some great disposition. So, the Toriana cow line has been here. I remember the first Toriana cow actually came from Bootjack Red Angus. My dad bought a trailer load or half a semi load of cows from Bootjack Red Angus. That's where the Toriana cow line actually came from. So they've had a long history here. We'll move on to lot 58. This is a forefront son out of a cyclone daughter. I mean, you talked a little bit about cyclone daughters earlier, Craig. What you want to bring back those comments?
Yeah, well, just another. I mean, this full brother to the last one there. So, just again, those cyclone daughters were just massive. It's the best word I can use to describe them. They were just super stout, just like he was. So yeah.
Does it with a 103 MPPA. Has a couple full brothers selling as lot 43 and 194. I just think there's the forefronts. One of the things we see or envision, and you've seen it earlier in the catalog, is they've done a tremendous job producing females that are coming back here producing the top ones. On to 59. Again, this is another lot from the Rouse, Gene Rouse and Dan Borman. Rolling deep on stock market. I mean, this is a pretty classic pedigree with a 3-star calving ease. Thoughts, guys?
I mean, just can't talk enough about stock market. I mean, I'm sure you guys talked about the easy flushing he had coming off a herd down south and coming back here and getting right out in the herd and breeding.
It's a good point.
He just came right back to it and didn't lose an ounce.
Yep. So stock market actually is co-owned with Steve Ham from Scheller, Illinois. The bull actually, when he's not in stud, gets used in 2 breeding seasons, and just this doesn't just has amazing kind of ability to be resilient and just the kind of bull you love to have around. So.
And we've never seen him in bad shape.
No.
Yep, that's a good point. So yeah. So again, comes from the Rouse program. If you want to talk about the Rouse females, I think it's really behooves you to call Dan Borman or Gene Rouse and talk to them about these cows. Okay, the last lot for the day, and this is actually the first Tiberius. I'm going to let you guys take it away.
Go for it. Tiberius and Maximus, they were both here. I mean, they're both in the pen. I've had them every day, and they're just fun to look at. I mean, just powerful. And
the neat thing about Tiberius is, and I'm sorry, Craig, but he's the low birth weight. He's the calving ease kind of bull that puts it in the mix, and we've chosen him to kind of move forward with Spartacus's legacy. He's going to be the low birth weight. Now Maximus is going to be the power guy, and a lot of times we have bulls that really have to fit that mold or a certain mold in order to be more profitable for your program. I interrupted you there.
I was just going to say, I mean, Tiberius has been a surefire Cavanese bull, and then you put atomic on the bottom side. We've used for years on heifers. -6.
Yep,
Birth
-6, and in the top
and
12% of the breed for Gridmaster. I mean, not many programs put that whole thing together like that.
Right, and the 18% for yearling weight. I mean,
Yep.
I mean, if sleep is important to you during calving heifers, he's gonna work.
Yep, this is one that'll sure get it done. So, with that, I'm going to close this version of Lot Talk. I think that these versions will air in the series, and we'll see you on episode 4 of Lot Talk.